Hi friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will introduce you a second part of how to add a basic interaction in ProtoPie. Let's dive in. I will first show you the scroll interaction and then paging interaction and some animation and interaction that I didn't introduce you last time. Okay, so to start with the scroll, there are two ways you can do. You can either directly add it from the scroll container and select the area where you want to scroll. And simply just move this rectangle to the scroll container and go to the layer panel in the bottom side and decide your direction. And it's gonna move as you want to scroll. You can also select none so that you don't have this bouncing effect. But the bounce gives you a little bit of natural touch here. And you can also set the starting point differently by adding the scroll. So you can see now that it starts from this position instead of the edge. For now, I will make it to 0. Great. So secondly, you can also do a horizontal way. And this time, instead of using this container directly, I'm just gonna simply group them, like grouping 2, 3, and go to the layer panel again in the bottom side and change this none to scroll with the vertical direction, and it's gonna move like this. So it's scrolling in a way, but as you can see, it's going over the area. The funny thing is, if you start from the group and then change to scroll, you have to manually select this clip sub layers. So now if I do this, it's just gonna clip the rest of the area that is not in the container, and you can scroll without overriding other elements. And you can of course reselect your container, then you're gonna have a different area of scrolling. Great. And one more tip I can give you is if you can see that when you scroll, it doesn't show you the whole bottom and it just bounces back. To prevent that, what you can do is you can just make this imaginary fake square and just add it on the bottom. And then it gives you this extra spacing if you want to give some padding on the bottom or margin. This is my trick, but maybe there are other ways, but it works for me for now. Okay, so this is our scroll, and the paging works pretty much the same. So I already have a container and I made it to paging container. So I've selected the paging one, which you can select the container size or page by custom. And if I just unclick the clip sub layer, you can see that it's also the row of rectangles. So when I clip the sub layers, you can see that it's just make the paging super simple and easy. So the difference with the scroll is when I make the scroll horizontally, then when I scroll, it doesn't go over the full page. It's just gonna move as much as I move. But if I make to paging, then it's just, with a small click, it just flips the whole page. So feel free to choose what works for you with your interaction. So both were very simple and quick interaction to add. So I'm gonna move on to the animation part. So I'm not sure if you're already familiar with it, but so when we have a start trigger, we can add anything, but I'm gonna add a rotate response with this rectangle and rotate by 90 degrees. So it just rotated once, and I want this to happen a bit slowly, so I can change the duration to 1 second instead. It's gonna be a bit more smooth. And I can also add a delay like 1 second. Then when I refresh, it starts after 1 second. Furthermore, you can also make it repeat by checking this button, and I'm gonna have 2 counts. See? And then it rotates 2 times and it stops. You can do infinite repeat, which is gonna just keep rotating. And you can also have like an interval, like a bit slower, so it stop 1 second and then rotate. It's like a clock. So this is the basic option you can do, and you can also have a very solid animation by like springs, for example. Then you have like this funny bouncing effect. If you're not familiar with this easy different animation option, you can also click this documentation from ProtoPie, and they're really well documented, like how it's supposed to work. So for easy in, it starts slow and then it gets fast in the end, so it makes you like a snap effect. And easy out is other way around, so it starts kind of fast and then it slows down in the end. And if you're an expert in animation, you can also go for a cubic bezier and click this icon to create your own animation speed. Cool. Yeah, so that's the basic of adding animation. And one of our subscribers asked me how I can make a floating. So there are different ways, but I can show you how I do it. So to make a float effect, I'm gonna add a move for this rectangle and move by 50 pixels. So it's gonna go down. And I'm just gonna add one more move, copy and paste it, and move by minus 50 so that it goes up. And if you drag this a little bit to the side, you can see here there's a timeline, and you can play around. You can change your time frame, like duration, manually from here, like you can see it's changed. Or you can also change the position of it, which is a delay. So Ctrl Z to go back. So to make like a floating animation, I'm just gonna make this delay to same as like the duration of this. Then if I refresh it, you can see that it comes down and up. And to make like a repeated animation, I can just select them both and repeat like 10 times. Then you can see it's bouncing. And to make it slow, I'm gonna just make both of the duration 1 second and make this delay again to this 1 second, and also change the interval for both of them to be 1 second. So you want to have this like synchronous pace that it doesn't really overlap, because it gets really complicated fast. So I will recommend you to keep this balanced. So when the move is done, then the going down starts. Because if you do it in the same time, it's not gonna work, because if you move 50 up and then you down at the same time, before you even started, it's already back to 0. So of course it's not gonna work. So make sure that your next animation starts after one animation is done, if you want to have this continuous animation. So you can see now it's sort of a floating in a way. You can also make it slower, and also you can make it like infinite repeat, but just be careful with the infinite repeat. When you have a very big files, it can slow your prototype down very easily. I don't know why, but maybe it takes a lot of rendering space. I'm not sure, but just so you know that you might hear a really big fan sound in your computer when you have a lot of infinite repeat. So be aware of that. So yeah, that was our animation. And lastly, I wanted to show you the three interaction that I didn't introduce you last time. So the first is drag animation. interaction. So drag is when you add this drag trigger, you can add different response, but I've chosen this move. So when I drag this pink square, it can move vertically, horizontally, or any direction. And you can also choose to have none, which you can go over and beyond, or it can go limited to screen, so it doesn't go over it. Or you can do like me, like a custom limit, which is starting from here and until around this part. And you can see that this green is responding to it, but it's not because of this drag. So if I disable the rest of the interaction, it's just gonna drag it, but nothing's gonna happen else. So what happened next was this chain interaction. I keep saying animation, but interaction. So chain interaction, the chain trigger is literally chaining and linking one item to another. So I'm linking this pink square's Y position, which you can choose another options. But when I'm linking this Y position to this green square, I can set the value like how synchronously it's gonna change. So like this movement, so it's exactly the same value. So when my square is square Y position, here Y of pink square is 257, the opacity of the green will be 100. And when it reaches this 357 value, the opacity will be slowly become 0 synchronously, like in a continuum state. I can do it other way around, like I can make it 100 and make it to 0 to 100 like this. Then when I am in this position, it's 0 and it reaches slowly to that point, it becomes 100%. Does it make sense? It's okay if you didn't understand yet. I took also a little bit of a while to understand this, but it's a pretty cool feature, and I will link another sample of tutorial that I created with the chain that you can check it out. Great, and the last one that I wanted to show you is a detect trigger that you also use it a lot for the variables later. So detect means it's literally you're detecting some changes and you're gonna trigger some response. And for my case, when I detect this again, this Y position change, I want the text to be replaced with, oh, the pink square moved, while the first text is the two friendly squares are here. So now, when I move this, the app detected the pink square Y position is changed. So it also changed the text. It's pretty handy, but I can also do more. So I can make a condition by clicking this plus button, and I want to make a condition with the green square of opacity to be equal to 100. So what does it mean? So when this app detects the pink square Y has changed, I want the second condition to be matched to trigger a next response, which I'm gonna copy this text response and then say, hey. So now, when I move this Y position of this pink rectangle, you see that the text has changed once. That is, oh, the pink square moved. And when it reached 100, now it says, hey, because it matched the second condition while it detected the changes of the Y. The condition can be used in other places as well with a different type of scenarios. But no worries if you feel too much at this stage. It will keep come along, and I will recommend you to first master the basics, and this will come in hand with other experience. So that's what's it for today. So if you like this video, please subscribe and press like if you like, and press notification if you want to know what's coming next, and it will give you alarm in your app. So I hope to see you in the next time, and until then, stay safe and be healthy.